Hello, welcome back again to our podcast channel Second Brain, AI powered business thinking. I'm your host, Vimal Patel from Round Tech Square. And today we have a guest named Jason, a very wonderful gentleman, owner of multiple businesses, Avery Construction, Construct Success, the cabinet, Designer Cabinet LLC, and then he's from Sunshine State, Florida. Jason, welcome to our podcast. Thank you very much for being over here.
Hey, thanks for the invite, Vimal. I'm glad to be here.
Okay, I had a very great conversation a couple of times with him, and then he spoke about the whole series of businesses it has over the period of decades, and then met so many people, has a lot of people connected to him in a business, and then I had a very good time to talk to him, and then today he is invited on the podcast, and then he's gonna take us to a whole journey about the business and how tech and AI is helping him. So looking forward to this great conversation. Jason, would you like to kind of tell me what you do as a business? What kind of industry are you in right now?
So the primary business is Avery Construction, which is high-end remodeling. So the houses that are built on the water or on the golf course, they're behind a gate. Those houses are the ones that we take apart a kitchen, a bathroom, the complete interior, or we add on to. I have 45 guys employed every day that are out there swinging hammers, doing estimates, permitting, all the faucets of our industry. My second business is a cabinet factory, which complements what we do at the construction. But instead of just building cabinets for myself, we created a new brand and a new vertical so that we can provide cabinets to a dozen other great general contractors in our area. The third business, Constructing Success, also complements the first two. I'm
Okay,
coaching the young general contractor. The guys
nice.
in my industry, they're starting to retire, and it seems
That's
like the newer generation doesn't like manual labor as much. So
that's
they tend
right.
to avoid the trades. Uh, as necessary as it is right now, with all the data centers and all the energy needed, these buildings they all
Nice.
have plumbing and electric and air conditioning. So there's great opportunities in my industry, but there is a shortage of labor. So in the consulting world, I will coach the young GC who has a few employees on how to grow his own business, and so sometimes that person's successful, but if for any reason that business isn't going to succeed, then I'm going to assimilate the best parts of that business into our future growth strategy. I'm going to offer him a great opportunity. He's going to love it. So, and then I work for some attorneys. If
Yeah.
they need an expert, they got to sue somebody involving residential
Okay.
construction. Maybe the hurricane knocked down the house, or maybe the builder, had some defects in the work. They lean on me to help provide what is a reasonable value for the damage, what has to be done to take it apart and put it back together.
So I think it's very safe to say that you created the ecosystem around you where not only you are best at what you do, but you also know that business so well that all those different department or different businesses kind of connect together. And not only you stop right there, but you also help the young people through that how to be successful like you. So that's very crazy. I mean, it's like the way you covered the whole thing such a nice way where nothing is just left alone and kind of everything get together. Very nice. So here is my first
It was
question.
when I first started, I had come from a company in my 30s, an 8-year career, and along the
Okay.
way, we were building our own custom software to work as our own CRM, to roll into our
Wow.
operations management, to roll into the accounting leg. And after years of development, piece by piece, it had all kinds of problems at the end. So when I started on my own, I was going to build my own software, and I knew where the finish line was, so I knew how to write the right script and lay it out.
Okay.
My CFO and my CPA sat me down for a meeting and said, "So you're going to spend $75,000?" And and I said, "Yes, because I'm going to build it so great that I'm going to sell it to every general contractor on the planet." And they said, "You want to be in the software business now?" What happens when Windows, 2027 comes out and your stuff doesn't communicate any longer and you have to redevelop and redistribute? And so they taught me to, only get into another business if it complements the core.
Each
And
other. Okay.
so I
Yeah.
avoided
Okay.
software to your world, and
Yeah.
it's right.
Yeah. I'm happy. I'm glad to hear that you are not in a software business of ours, and then you are doing great in the construction side and remodeling. But yeah. So having said that, the first question comes into my mind is, having this multiple business, having the whole ecosystem of a business, how you are leveraging the technology, or how you are leveraging advanced level of technology, which is nothing but an AI, into your whole ecosystem, and how you are benefiting out of it, if I may ask.
Sure. So I started very simple. I'm a whiz at Excel. I created
Okay.
spreadsheets for CRM
Okay.
management, for anything I needed to track. And I'm one of those business owners that knows my numbers. You have to know
That's right.
your
Okay.
sale, your close ratio per salesperson, as well as
7%.
per referral source. But as the years have gone on and we're developing using technology, HubSpot has taken over on the CRM side because it offers all the digital advertising and marketing opportunities. Still using Excel and the tracking of averages, but CompanyCam, and an app where we can now take our pictures, download them into files, making them shareable. We're using a lot more Zoom, FaceTime. So I don't have to go to and from a residence with that new designer that's training and hours of time invested. Instead,
Okay.
I can send him over there wearing my brand, working the tape measure and getting through all the small talk with the client so that it narrows down the time to, he'll call me on FaceTime, walk me through a quick tour, and I can give him the technical advice he needs to proceed to the next step. If he's doing final designs or critiquing a budget, I can share on Zoom. We can see the documents. I can see the client as if I'm sitting across the table from them. So those types of things that just save a great deal of time were the very first implemented. Now, what does the future have in store? I'm on a committee for the development within the county that I operate in most frequently. I speak with the chief plans examiner, the chief building official, the consultant to the county at least every other month. And they're getting ready to roll out AI for plans review, trying to expedite the process of the permitting so that we can begin the projects. We're doing a little steering on that. Originally, they were going to have the building department purchase the AI and then as a tool for their own people. And with a little direction, a little advice from me, we're going to now steer it to where the contractors in the area will have the access to the software so they can use it before submitting to the building department.
I see.
Again, try to streamline that process. It also subdivides their expenses. They don't have to pay for the full bill on their own.
Got it. Okay, so you received this wonderful award, 40 under 40 by Tampa Bay Business Journal. Now, is that right assumption, saying that the person like you who received this award, there must be like similar thousands of other people in the same county or same same area? You are different than all of those. Is there any part of technology or automation's reason behind this success, or reason behind getting the awards, or being out there, being 100 best company into this market? Is there anything you can point out saying that, okay, hey, I was doing this right, or I was using this tech right? That's what made me different than the other other competitor. Is there anything you want to mention?
I'm yet to find a tech that can change the format of the business. It is a tool that can be applied in multiple different areas of the business. From the beginning where we're creating a marketing flyer to promote an event where we're supporting a charity and we want to make sure our brand and, our call to action is blended within. Gosh, AI is great for just making that very, very quick. Now, when it comes to building the business, I got to lean more to the culture of the company. And that the attitude, most business owners they're thinking about themselves first, and they've got to reverse that. As I was growing up the company, I'm going to make sure that this person on the team makes the money that I would want to make if I had to do that job, so that person is not going to want to leave me. And, when a problem happens, I have to absorb some of those problems myself. I have to sort of save them from disaster. But as I'm doing that, I'm creating the loyalty, the longevity, the type of environment where people want to stay with me, and they've been many for 10 years or more. But now I can build off of that and get the next person. So eliminating turnover in a business comes a lot down to culture. Nobody within my organization punches a time clock. If it was hourly pay, it's going to end up, affecting me. If it was a salary, it's going to affect them to the point where I'll probably turn them over. So,
Gotcha.
paying people right, making flexible schedules. My production manager would say the reason he's here is because he's never missed his child's, performance at school,
Wow.
because
Okay.
of the job. I used to teach to others, what I call the 80% rule. If somebody can do your role 80% as good as you, not your whole entire role, but this piece of your role, this task, this function, if they can do it 80% as good, let them do it. The outside world doesn't know that you're 20% better than they are. And now that you've recaptured, reaccumulated all that time back, you can spend a little bit of that time making them 20% better, training them, checking their work, polishing it a little bit before it's delivered.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
the culture of a business, I think, is the most important part to growing, but
Okay.
have to keep up the times with the technology, and you can't fall behind it, just for credibility's sake, if nothing else. It used to be
That's
you
right.
had a website to be credible.
That's
Even more so,
that's right.
nobody's going to look at you if they're not going to find
Yeah.
you on the website these
That's
days.
true. True. True.
But the AI tools that are coming, can be applied. Hesitant in some areas, as I've seen some examples that some have done. I've seen some brilliant examples where an organization that's creating sort of a better business bureau model, a way of vetting contractors, they're adopting that model, and we were in the test mode of it, and they challenged me to test this model, and I threw a lot of curveballs at the system, and it handled me just fine. There was very few little blurbs that would have
Sing. Okay.
to a human being.
Oh,
So
okay. Okay. So I think what you are.
I'm still trying to learn where and how to implement it without losing the personal touch.
Okay.
I think some of the guys that work underneath our umbrella, like the plumber, and I think tremendous things can happen for the scheduling, for the marketing, for the capturing of clients, because it's a simpler, one trade item. The electrician, the roofer, the drywall guy. I think those businesses can benefit. When I sit on the top of that pyramid, I'm dealing with people who have an entire remodel package between $100,000 to $500,000, and they tend to want that focal point. Who's the center of attention? Who's the person I can, argue with? Who's the person I can write the check to? Who's the one person in charge? And I think that does take some relationship building, and I don't think AI can substitute for that.
Okay. So I think you rightly sum up by saying that doesn't matter how technology and AI can help the business, but at the same time that human touch, taking care of those employee, make them feel like okay, they belongs to you, they belong to the business, they are not a replacement. I mean, there is a very common saying people always talk about that AI will take your job. Okay, so that is absolutely, you made it such a clearly understood saying that okay, hey, not I mean, automation task, you give it to them, you be smart about it, but that trade-off of 20%, your 80% rule kind of mentions saying that that trade-off of 20% that makes you smarter, and then keep doing that job and then having the control over that. That's I think amazing.
That's a great transition. You brought up the point about the losing of jobs. This is a genuine concern for a lot of people, out there. And it just came up this last Friday at a breakfast. It was a business meeting that ended. A bunch of people went to the local restaurant for breakfast, and a couple of people engaged in that exact conversation right in front of me. And they talked about the concern of losing jobs. And my response to that is sure, some jobs that are only order taking, that are simple tasks,
simple automation, yes,
type of jobs.
Yes.
Many of those will disappear, and AI will replace them. But
Yes.
for every job that's lost on that side, there is a trades job that just opened up to support the data centers and the energy centers that are going to, fuel this AI. Additionally, AI could be the tool that streamlines and expedites the training process. To get the minimum wage level worker to a standard average American wage.
Yes.
AI could be the training component that gets them there quicker.
Yes. No, so I always talk to the leader. When I talk to them, I always tell them, I take them to the previous journey. Now, if you remember back in the 70s, 80s, the calculator came, then typewriter came, then computer came. Then, people were hesitant about using the computer back in the 80s and 90s, saying that, okay, hey, you know what, this will take my job. But really, if you use it right now, the kindergarten use the computer, the first grader, elementary school using the computer. Now cut to 2000 right now, cell phone and iPads and MacBooks and computers and all those things are doing tremendous good job in a hardware wise and a software wise. And then it makes the life easier and easier day by day. Like, back in the days, you used to use a pen and paper versus right now you're using computer notes, talking, and then the software will create the script out of it. So yeah, so all those crazy things. And then the way you mentioned saying that the employee are the key people of a technology, and then they are the person who will be using the technology. So that it teaches us, people like us who creating the software, saying that, okay, hey, we need to be having a very fair balance of who's using it and then how smartly they are using it to help the benefit the business, right? Here's my next question, if I may ask, saying that if I ask you something like crazy, saying that, tell me one thing, if you can think of and tell us, saying that if you solve this problem into your industry, that would be like, kind of very crazy, which is a biggest setback right now, or considered to be a biggest setback. I mean, of course, you are solving that in your own, but if the software and technology and AI can take over that problem and then solve that, that will be like, kind of like, groundbreaking in terms of your industry. What that
So
one problem could be.
I don't necessarily think there's a problem to be solved, but it's
That's
all
true.
about
Yeah.
how to make the process more efficient. The whole
To agree.
process is very cumbersome and drawn out over a long period of time. Samples of some of the upcoming technologies where AI might be able to take it to the next level. Scanning devices. If I got to walk into the home, I'm going to have to create a plan to be submitted to the building department, usually employing architects or structural engineers of high value. But maybe there's no structural change. The building department still wants to see a layout, a before and as built plan along with a future layout, the new layout. And so the devices where now you can come in and just scan the home with your phone, and then it's going to compute and translate that into the blueprint, to the document you need, and with a very close degree of accuracy. So I've seen samples of it. They're not perfect yet. I think, like any of the softwares we have out there, they're very generalized to try to cover the masses. So why I started my business with a bunch of Excel spreadsheets, because I could build it the way that I wanted it. Some people might call it a sale. Other people might call it a contract. Other people might call it, futures.
Future.
Each business has a different way of doing things, not even industry to industry, but within two businesses in the same industry. So
Gotcha.
I think AI is going to help us, learn how each business operates a little different than the other and adapt. And that's really
Okay.
what it's about,
So
identifying and adapting, little things. You can't wish this big outcome to happen and just cross your fingers and hope it happens. You have to dissect that big outcome into a bunch of little bite-sized pieces and address one little item at a time. Can I, if I can get a 10% improvement in 5 different sectors of my business, I can generate 200% more net profit,
okay, that's true.
all through efficiency.
Yeah. No, that's very nice way to put it out there. So what I'm understanding is that the certain problems are solved by tech and AI. They're for the general users. Like, for example, I do remember using one of the app in my iPhone to measure something with the use of camera. It just tells me that, okay, hey, I mean, my door size is like 6 feet or 3 feet, and then go to Home Depot and get something. So that kind of a normal use case scenario, the tech is there for the normal people, normal user. But for anything advanced, the people like you, the leaders like you, who are going to use the tech in a scalable level where they have to kind of build something out of it, it's still there. So what I'm getting is that still there is a room, there is a vacuum where we kind of come on and then bank on it and then make something crazy out of it. So very, very nice to know that. Very nice.
Part of our
uh, uh,
conversation at the breakfast table also talked about AI will only be as good as the information that we put into it, that we give it. It's going to take
that's right.
populated data,
Data.
draw conclusions from it. But what if the data I gave you wasn't accurate? Or what if it wasn't truthful? Or, I work with women every day. Sometimes they change their mind. And so,
Okay.
keeping up with that and you have to have the human touch. You still have to have the
That's
personal.
true. Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, AI doesn't function or doesn't work at all if there is no human behind it. So
I
very
believe
nicely
it'll
said.
replace some jobs, but it's not going to replace jobs
Replace
altogether.
the
Many skills
absolutely.
will be created, and
Okay.
good business, a successful business
Okay.
will
Yeah.
apply it, but not let it take over.
Yeah, very, very nice to hear that. Very safe to hear that, because that's becomes very important for the people, like, a lot of students coming out of fresh universities and then trying to make the technology. They need to be knowing these things, saying that the approach should not be the AI will take the job, but it should be kind of go hand on hand and then do it right way, so that the whole generation or whole, global humanity get benefit out of it. So that should be the always mindset.
The best part about what you said is just handing down wisdom and information, teaching. Here's where we came from. Here's why we got there. You have to have
That's true.
traditions, but you need to innovate. And I personally also attend some high school career fairs and such, and represent a trades table just to show the next generation that I swung the hammer for about 2 weeks. Now I run 4 businesses, and
Boost
most of it
system.
is my front porch.
That's absolutely.
College, I used to have to put in 40,000 miles a year on my vehicles and burn out a vehicle every 4 to 5 years. So,
Wow.
just the time saved, the hours of travel, the gas, the tolls, the oil changes, all the associated expenses with that. That's what AI and technology is doing for
This
us.
is doing.
It
Okay.
didn't take my job. It just made me better.
Maybe better. Okay. Wow. Okay. That's the perfect note to kind of, sum up the whole conversation. Very crazy. I mean, you got like awards, you have the best Clearwater, best creative lofting magazine. I mean, you are like all over the place in your territory, in your area. Very nice to. I mean, thank you very much for your time, and then telling us, teaching us what is next for us to kind of learn out of it, and then giving us the insight, a lot of insight about your business and about your industry. Thank you for being over here, and then I wish you all the best. The very last question before I let you go: if somebody wants to kind of connect with you, or somebody wants to kind of avail any service what you're offering in your business, where should they come? How they should contact you? If you can just say that and then sum up, please. Thank you.
I'll just give you the different websites here. If it's a construction related project in the Tampa Bay area of Florida, United States, then it's going to be averyconstruction.com. If
Okay.
you are somebody looking to source custom cabinetry, and this would apply to the southeast region of the United States, it would be designercabinetsllc.com.
Wow. Okay.
And finally, if you're looking for some coaching, some help in growing the business, learning about relationships and how to create referral marketing strategies, then visit me at construct dash, like a hyphen, construct dash success.com.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, thank you very much, Jason, and then I wish you all the best, and then hope to talk to you more and more about upcoming events, and then I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Final word, pay it forward. When you meet
Okay.
people, help them out. I met Vimal, I sent him some introductions, and he's already got a bit
Yes,
of.
indeed. Really, really. Thank you very much for that as well. But thank you, Jason. Have a nice day.